Hey, welcome you knife nerds and all you everyday care people. It's the Big Canucker here coming at you from the frozen north, and we're going to have a look today at the Leatherman Signal. We'll have a look at the tool set, and we'll have a look at whether or not you should put this inside your pocket or your everyday carry rotation. And yeah, we'll have a look at it. We'll have a look at the hits and misses and everything in between. So we'll have a look at the size. As you can see, it's a little bit of a larger size without being really crazy heavy. Here it happens to be the Leatherman Free P4, and you can see that it's got a little bit of length on that, but and a little bit of width too as well. And then we have here one of my favorite multi-tools, and this is one of my favorite objects here. It's actually this Victorinox Swiss X. I ended up getting this from a gentleman by the name of Mr. Anderson, who is a hell of a guy, and I have to say, one of the biggest supporters of this channel. Thank you so much, and I still carry this all the time. I love this tool. Thank you very much, Mr. Anderson. First name is Patrick, but I always call him Mr. Anderson. It's our kind of a little bit of an inside joke. All right, so let's get this off the side here. Now, this happens to be a 19 tool, excuse me, Leatherman Signal. It is kind of a pricey here in Canada. You're looking at 188 bucks. In the States, you're looking at, I think, was it 139, I do believe. And that's a little bit, I think, up there for kind of what we're going to get here. All right, now it does have 19 tools, but it's missing, I think, a few tools that are really something that I look for in any sort of multi-tool. So you have a look here. Of course, it's going to have yourself your needle nose pliers, as well as your regular set of pliers with your removable hardwire cutter, or not hardwire cutters, your removable cutters here that actually are a little bit of an upgraded steel over the regular 420 HC. This is 154 steel, so they are just pop those screws off and you can just replace them. I don't know if you can sharpen these or not, but if you chip them up and you're kind of cranking on some piano wire or something you're not supposed to, and you do chip them up, you can replace them. And if you look at the very bottom part, that's actually the hardwire part right at the very bottom. Okay, now it is a nice big wide set of jaws. It's even bigger than the P4 Free here. You can see that it's got it beat by just a little bit, and it does have the Victorinox Swiss Tool X beat by, I'm going to say quite a bit, but it is quite a bit bigger that way than the Leatherman, the Swiss Tool X. So it does have some really wide opening jaws, which is definitely a plus of it. And in the bottom here, you're going to end up having yourself some crimpers, and those are kind of like, I think, pretty much all multi-tools. All these multi-tools are tools that they never do anything absolutely smashing fantastic. They just do everything that you want them to do passably, right? If you're going to get yourself something that you're going to cut barbed wire all day long, you're going to get yourself a darn good set of side cutters. You can use your Leatherman to do it, but you just want to do it once in a while. If you're going to do it all the time, get the proper tool. And that just seems to be with any of the multi-tools right across the board. All right. So now let's have a look here at the rest of the tools. So yes, like we've got the needle nose. Now the needle nose pliers they do join up really well. That's one thing I have to say about Leatherman, is when they do make a set of pliers, you're able to pluck out hairs with them. And like, not that I have a whole lot of hairs to begin with, but you can see that it did pull the hair out of my arm. So they are they're very well put together, is basically what I want to say there. All right, so now you've also got, let's have a look at the outside tools here. You've got yourself a combination 420 HC blade you've got yourself the straight edge out the front here, and then you've also got some serrations here too. And it is a lockable blade. Now 420 HC is, it's passable knife steel. It's not outstanding knife steel. If you're looking to have your multi-tool as your only everyday carry blade, I would suggest maybe getting something like the Charge or something with the S30V blade in it, or find a custom maker out there if you happen to like if you happen to love a Leatherman tool, but it doesn't have the S30V blade or really upgraded steel. I'm sure there's makers out there that will do these blades for you and make them, design them in a certain size or certain type of steel. But you're always better off getting the S30 steel, the upgraded steel, if you're looking at using this your only multi-tool or your only everyday carry blade. Now the other outside tool here happens to be, and it's not one-handed, it is two-handed. It is the saw, the Leatherman saw, and it is a fair size too as well. Now the Leatherman saw is an excellent saw all the way around. The teeth are really, really sharp, and I have used a Leatherman to cut through a 2x4 in under 30 seconds. It'll just blast right through a 2x4 and any of the wood. I also have a surge that I use that I carry with me all the time in my bag, and lots of times when I was out on the job, I would be at lunchtime, I would cut a branch down or something, or a little piece of brush to do a little bit of whittling while I was just kind of killing my lunch break. And I have to say that the Leatherman saws are outstanding all across the entire board. So there's no problems there. And of course, it's locking too as well with your own little, almost like a little bit of a liner lock. Now the other outside tools on both sides is, on this side you happen to have a removable ferrocerium rod with a whistle, and on this side you happen to have a sharpening stone of sorts, and it's like a little diamond contoured sharpening stone, and it will sharpen the scallops as well as the straight part on the blade. And it will, it will sharpen other knives. And you basically, what you're doing is you're just pressing the lock to remove it. So if you happen to have your 420 HC blade and you need to sharpen it, basically you're just kind of sharpening down the blade, and then you can actually use it to get into each individual scallop, and you can see that it does have kind of a 3D machined effect. And I imagine you could use this to, in a pinch, to sharpen other knives. It does feel like it is quite coarse, so you're not going to be getting a mirror polished edge by any stretch of the imagination. But if you're out hunting and you're out, fishing or something, and you catch some big game, or you knock down some big game, and you need to have your hunting knife touched up, I'm sure that you could use your hunting knife here, your sharpener, to touch it up in a pinch to finish processing the rest of that game. Now the other outside tool happens to have is a clip. And you know what? This does come with the Leatherman sheath, and it is a nylon sheath that does have a couple of little packets on the sides, so you can put a bit extender or perhaps a small flashlight, and it does have a little pocket in behind there too as well. But just be careful, because it does have the bottom hole here, which anything in the pocket that slides through that's not big enough to stay there will end up in the bush. Okay, so let's have a look here. So some of the tools, the tool set here on the inside, is you happen to have a leather awl with the sewing eye. Now, a lot of people are really kind of knock this tool down, and when's the last time you used it all? Well, if you're into bushcrafting, and this happens to be a knife that is built for survival and bushcrafting and being out in the outdoors, some of the little small tools, traps you can make, you can use this to drill into a piece of wood. And that's the biggest thing I would use it for, is to take it and drill through a piece of wood. That's a really, really handy way to use that. Now the other thing you've got here is you've got a can opener. Some people also use this as a ball opener. And then if you see that little notch right inside there, that happens to be a little bit of a wire stripper. And it will strip some wire. You have to be really kind of coordinated to strip wire with that little V groove there. I think you're better off just using the blade and kind of rolling the blade, although you will perhaps cut a little bit of strands doing it that way until you get practiced with it. And then of course the other thing it has the 2D bit driver, and that bit here happens to have a Phillips 2D Phillips on it, and then a flat too as well. Now you can get other 2D bits with this, Robertson, other different types of Phillips, so you're not just completely stuck with just these two. There are aftermarket ones available through Leatherman, of course, but you know what, they are the ones who sell these tools. So let's kind of put the rest of that stuff away. Now the other thing here is your ferrocerium rod happens to be removable, and it's just a matter of this little wire case right here. Wire clip, and you just press it and it pops right out, and then you could use this to throw some fire. Now this is not a huge ferrocerium piece, so you're not going to use this for years and years and years, because you're just basically going to wear it out. Now the other thing with this is once you do wear it out, they are replaceable. You can just buy new replacements through Leatherman. If you happen to lose it or you happen to just wear it out, new ones are available. Now right there is also the whistle, and I'm not going to blow the whistle because it'll blow your eardrums out, but it is, it is a passably loud whistle for the bush, and something like that will be a real benefit if you have people looking for you and you're injured. You know what? If you've ever tried, screaming or calling out really loud, after about 10 or 15 minutes, your voice is wrecked, and that's the last thing you want inside a. That's the last thing you want, is not being able to shout out to get some help if you're out in the bush and you're injured. Now, the other thing here, so now we'll just take that, and that just basically just lays down in there, and you just press it in, and it's just in, and it's just in. It is a little rattly, which does kind of bug me too. Now we've showed you how to take that off. Now the other tools that are here is you happen to have a little hammer on the bottom, and that's going to be for, I guess, perhaps, a little bushcrafting, but also, pounding in, tent pegs or stakes. If you're making yourself a little bit of a snare trap and you want to pound a stake into the ground, I just happen to think that you can use other things than this to pound in a stake. I mean, if you're going camping and this is the only little hammer that you have, and you're putting up a tent all the time, I think you're in a lot more trouble than you are. All right, so the other thing is you've got a 3/16" box end wrench here, and you've also got a 1/4 inch on the other side. So you can put regular full-size bits in there, and the nice thing about it is if you drop a bit inside there, it does stop. So I mean, you're not going to just drop it and it's not going to pass right through. The 1/4 inch one will, but if you have a 3/16" larger bit that'll drop in there, it'll actually stay in there where you can press on it and open things up. All right, so well, what else have you got in there? Oh, you've got your carabiner here with your bottle opener. This happens to be your actual bottle opener. Now, if you've got this, you can hang it off your backpack, or you can hang it off your belt, or you could put a bigger carabiner on there. I guess that's a quite handy thing. Now, this happens to be kind of a pricey tool. Oh, before that, I just wanted to let you guys know too that it does come in 9 different colors. The color combinations where this is different color, and the little accessories are different color too. And I will leave that at the end of the video. I took a picture of all of these Leatherman in different colors off the website, and I'll just let it run. At the end of the video, you can see different color combinations for all of them. And that's in Canada and the US. You can definitely get the same color. You can definitely get the same colors in either country. Now, this, like I said, this is a really, really pricey tool. I mean, this is $140 in the US and $188 here in Canada. They just had a little bit of a price increase. And I happen to think that this is quite a bit overpriced. If you're going to be using this as your only tool in the bush, well, maybe that makes a little bit of sense, but you're not. I mean, I think if you're an experienced bushman, or an experienced person who likes the outdoors, or an experienced camper, then you're going to get yourself a whole lot more tools. You're going to carry more tools that are a way better job than what these will do. So, like for instance, this sharpener. You're going to carry yourself a bigger sharpening stone that'll sharpen any of your bladed instruments that you have, where this is such a pain in the butt to take that little small thing out and try to sharpen. I mean, like I said, it'll do in a pinch, but you're not going to use this as your main sharpening instrument across all your bladed instruments. Just like this for starting a fire. Now, if you're freezing cold and you're in the bush and you're trying to rely on this to start yourself a fire, like, it can be done, but you have to have such good kindling, dry stuff, and your hands are shaking and it's cold and it's small, and you're going to have yourself quite a bigger ferro rod with magnesium that you scrapings that you can use to get something that's a little bit damp, started with a fire. You're going to have yourself a Bic lighter or any sort of Zippo lighter or a lighter. You're going to be using a lot more tools, or a lot better tools, to do the job than what you have on here. Like, in a pinch, this will work, but it's just not. I think it's a little more gimmicky than it is practical. Now, the other thing is you're missing all sorts of tools that I think are really, really excellent tools. Like, where's the scissors? If I'm going to use a multi-tool, I'm going to use it for its pliers most of the time. I'm going to cut things, the wire with it, but I'm also going to use those scissors. That is one of my most used tools. Oh, I'm sorry here, it's got a call there. One of my most used tools is the actual scissors. So for $188 or $140, Leatherman were the scissors. So the tool set on here, if you're going to get yourself a multi-tool that is going to do the most things possible, I think the Surge is your most capable multi-tool with 21 tools, including, some really, really good bits in there, some excellent blades in there, or the Wave. The Wave, I think, for the money is, if you're going to spend $188 in Canada, you're better off spending $165 getting yourself a Wave, and you've got a much more comparable, a much more usable multi-tool. The other thing here is like the comfort on this tool is not super fantastic. My darn watch keeps on going off here. Sorry, I apologize for that. It's actually, it's reminding me that I have to go give blood. So I just want to say that if you are, I'm happy to be AB positive, which is a universal donor for plasma, and they're always asking me to do it. So make sure if you have the opportunity to give blood because you could be saving somebody's life. I just wanted to say that. Now, the ergonomics on this are not fantastic. I mean, the ridges here are a little bit sharp. It looks cool on the outside, but it's just not a very pleasing object to be kind of to be feeling. I mean, you've got stuff like this, which is much more nicer. I mean, just the ergonomics on this tool are absolutely head and shoulders above this Leatherman Signal. The tool set too as well is head and shoulders above this. And what you're getting, and this a little bit gimmicky tool, is you're getting a hammer, that you can hammer. And if you're out there and you need to hammer something, then use the saw, cut yourself a little bit of a branch, and then make yourself a little bit of a mallet. That's a much more usable hammer than hammering this Leatherman Signal in there. Now, mind you, this does have some, some nice features to it. I think the combo blade is really excellent. I think this, the needle nose pliers, the regular pliers, the cutters, I think those are all excellent. I mean, Leatherman usually has a really, really great design. I just happen to think that this one here is a little bit of a miss. Now, the other thing here is you can use this, and then this is locked into place, which is more annoying than anything else. Now, I watched one reviewer on this a long time ago, and he said, well, I'm glad I have this, because if I take it and it opens up in my pocket somehow, and I fall down and I'll have one of these jab you in the thigh. And I'm thinking, well, this thing has to open up quite a bit, for it to jab you in the thigh. And I mean, I accidentally forget this thing on there a couple of times, and I open it up, and I'm one-handed, I'm trying to open it, and it just pisses me off more than it actually is a benefit to me, right? I think the only time I ever want to lock that is if I'm using this as a hammer to hammer the heck out of something. But other than that, it's more annoying than it is a help. So for me, this is definitely a miss. The hits and misses. I think for the money, for the $140 or the $188 here in Canada, you can spend your money a little wiser with the Leatherman Signal. Now, for that kind of money too, I would expect them to give a really nice leather sheath with maybe some extra bits and stuff like that. Might make you a little bit worthy. If you want to have yourself some really, really, good, if you want to find yourself a really, really excellent multi-tool that's good, value for a buck, the Super Tool 300M is an excellent tool for about the same money. You're going to get a bunch of extra bits on it. You're going to get some really, really wicked tools. And because you're not, this one here has only got the two tools on the outside. This is the Super Tool 300M. All the tools are on the inside. So, but there is a whole lot more tools. Or the Leatherman Wave. I think if you have a budget and you're worried about, kind of exceeding your budget, the Leatherman Wave Plus is the way to go. It's an excellent multi-tool all the way around. And with this one, I think it's just a little bit of a miss out there. So I'm going to give this probably on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm going to give this probably a 5. So yeah, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. I think you can do much better without this tool in the Leatherman lineup. And that's not to say that Leatherman isn't a great multi-tool or a great company. It does have a 25-year warranty, so if something happens with this and you break the blade on it, you break some piece of it, send it in, and Leatherman will either fix that tool or send you a brand new one. Their Leatherman, their warranty is outstanding, and as a company overall, I think they're great. I just happen to think this one is a little bit overpriced. So please stay safe out there. Keep your stick on the ice. The shine is head up. This is Big Canucker saying adios.